Hey, welcome, my friends, to this week's captivating episode of Motivational Moments with Maria. I'm your high performance coach, Maria. Thrilled that you've joined me today. And every week, it is my intent to bring you some messages of inspiration, motivation, positivity, because it is my intent. It is my wish that we all experience more joy, more fulfillment, and more happiness in every area of your life. And as I love to do, I love to bring on guests to talk about their journey. And this week is no exception. So this week, I'm really excited to introduce one of my colleagues, and she's also a transformational life coach. And her name is Mary Beth Flemming. And Mary Beth comes to us from Colorado. However, I know we're soul sisters because she lived in Hawaii for many, many years. And you all know how much I love the Aloha land. So welcome to the show, Miss Mary Beth. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so thrilled that you're here. And she has an amazing story to tell. And I'm actually going to let her do most of the talking today. And I'm going to listen and learn. Okay. So, first of all, Mary Beth, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love adventure. I'm one of those people that tends to jump to new experiences, and I love just exploring life. I think life has so much beautifulness to give us, and there's so much to explore. I love meeting people and exploring cultures and exploring the world, and that's really what has led me to be an entrepreneur is just that desire to, live my life by design and be able to work in community and be inspired by other people and just see what we can create in this life that we have.
Great. So, how did you end up? Because I know you've been on a journey. I want you to talk about the journey you've been on and how you ended up becoming a transformational life coach. Because you've had a path that's weaved into different areas. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, so for many years, I was really focused in health and nutrition and fitness. And that was my passion for many, many years. It still is. But what I was finding is I was kind of struggling as an entrepreneur to really make that work. And I was trying to help people elevate their lives through health and fitness, but I wasn't reaching the amount of people that I desired. I was getting and feeling burnt out. And so there was a time in my entrepreneurial journey where I was actually, working like four different jobs to try to put all the pieces together. And I kind of hit rock bottom at one point when I do a lot of volunteer work. So that's another part of my passion is volunteering for different organizations. And I was over in West Africa studying West African drum and dance, and I met the love of my life. And we ended up conceiving a child. But when I came back to the United States, it took us 2 years to get my husband over to the United States. So, I was pregnant. I was trying to figure out the immigration process. I was about to have a baby, and life just was not going up anymore. I was like, what's happening? And so I really had a moment where I realized that I just had to change the trajectory of my life and I had to flip the story. And so, my son was 16 months before my husband got to meet him. And 3 months before
Oh,
that, um, I felt like it was never going to happen. And it was that night that I just decided, I've got to do something different to create something different in my life. And so that's when I decided to partner with the company that I'm with now. That was about 5 years ago. And I decided to just really say yes to myself for the first time and really dig into what is it that I really want to provide for people. And yes, I want to help people have up level their health, but I also want to help people transform on an emotional, mental, spiritual process as well. And so when I dove in and I said yes, it was amazing what transpired in my life. My husband came 3 months later. We've now been married for 5 years. He's an artist, a musician, so he is a total entrepreneur himself. And we live this life now by design where we just our kids are our number one importance, and we both are flexible in our work from home. And in the last 5 years, I've helped over 13,000 individuals transform their life, either in their health or as entrepreneurs and people looking to start a business from home and be that thriving parent that is really involved in your children's lives, really involved in your marriage, but also following your passion at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
now I love the term that you said, life by design. I mean, because I am a firm believer in that, that I believe that we have the capability to create the life that we choose to have. Now, you say life by design, and I say life by choice,
mhm,
right? Life by choice, because the choices that we make today in our lives are going to be with us forever, right? And
yep.
so I love that you said I'm living the life by design. So what was it? What was the big factor? What was the turning point for you that you said, okay, I'm done. I've got to create something different. Something inside of you. What was it?
Yeah, it was a moment when I realized I have to stand for me. So much of my life as an entrepreneur and just being a volunteer worker and these things, I was constantly giving, 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 and trying to serve, serve, serve. But a lot of the time it was from an empty cup or at the expense of my own well-being. And I finally just realized if I'm really going to make this work, I've got to be able to put me first in a way that fills my cup and fuels who I am so that then I can serve and give even more. And so that was the moment where I finally realized that no, it's not selfish to put me first. It's actually what's necessary and needed for me to change my life, to create the impact I want and be able to actually serve the people I love the most.
And I applaud you for that, because so many women, and men probably as well, but I know a lot of women that do not put themselves first, do they?
Yeah.
I just, and it's so obvious in our society today that women like always seem to put everyone else first
Mhm.
at the expense of their own well-being, and I am a firm believer that because I do a lot of traveling, and I'm a firm believer when they say put your oxygen mask on first before you give it to the children. And I know that seems out of sorts, but the reality is, if we do not take care of ourselves first, then we can't take care of anyone. Now, can we?
Yep. And actually,
Right.
what I realized was a new sense of self-responsibility, because when I was always serving and focusing on everyone else, there was more of a tendency for myself to be more in a victim state. And then I
Ooh,
realized when I actually said yes to me and put myself first, there was this new sense of self-responsibility that was actually relieving. Like, oh, it isn't their job. Oh, it isn't anyone else's job. It's actually mine. And I'm the reason I'm feeling this way, and I'm the reason I'm at where I'm at. There's always different circumstances that play into it, but it was almost liberating in that, okay, I don't actually have to be the victim anymore. I can be really self-responsible and in that impact so many more people.
absolutely. And I know you had some significant challenges or obstacles that you had to overcome on your journey. How did you overcome those challenges, those obstacles?
Yeah, I would say it constantly went back to just trusting. I have a
Mm.
pretty deep faith as well. And so remembering that everything is being orchestrated for a reason. And so there's this deep level of trust that I've built into my entrepreneurial journey, into my life with my family of, am I in alignment? Am I really taking responsibility? Well, if then yes, okay, trust the process. And so I really learned to enjoy the journey rather than always be focused on the destination. And as a traveler, that was interesting for me because I'd always for a long time been so focused on the destination, right? And so I really
Mm.
shifted, pivoted into really enjoying the journey and learning as much as I could from it. And with that self-responsibility comes that enhanced self-awareness of, okay, that didn't work. Instead of dwelling on it, how can we pivot? Or what can I learn from that? Or how can I be more solution oriented so it goes better next time? And just really learning to adopt more of that mindset so that when a bump in the road happens, I'm able to overcome it quicker rather than getting completely stopped.
Beautiful. Now, if an obstacle came at you right now, the boulder is coming down on you, what would you do?
I would ask myself, what can I learn from this? What is this telling me? And
Yeah.
I would take a moment to really reflect, and then I would think about, okay, well, where can I go from here that is in the direction I want to go? How can I handle this that's, in the direction I want to go?
Okay. So I know that you're in partnership with a company that does superfoods, right? And that's part of the whole business that you do. You do transformational life coaching. You do some selling a product for organic superfoods. And I just want to ask you about that. Tell me a little bit about the product, just a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about it is because it's 100% organic and the company follows the philosophy of regenerative agriculture. So I'm a deep believer in, stewarding this earth for our future generations. And so our food is actually grown in like the top 1% quality soils. And over the years, I've learned that the health of our planet really and the health of ourselves really depends on the quality of the soil. And especially in the last 30 years, the quality of our food has declined so incredibly because of industrial agriculture. So this company really emphasizes soil quality as a priority and making sure the soil and the nutrients and the vitamins and minerals are really present in the soil, so then it then transfers to the human. And it's deemed now in America that 90% of soils are depleted. And so I see that on a daily basis when I'm walking around, like, wow, over 90% of the population is depleted in some manner. And that affects the way that we show up in the world. That affects our ability to go for our passions, that affects our ability to problem solve, to be positive thinkers. Because when we're not having the nutritional needs that we need, our bodies aren't functioning at an
Mhm.
optimal rate either. So that's really why it's the foundation for my programs, because what we put in physically feeds what we put out mentally and emotionally.
Okay. So you started off working as all about nutrition and health, right? And
Mhm.
then you realize that in order for us to be fully in alignment, it's not only your nutrition, it's your physical, your emotional, and your mental.
Mhm.
And is that what moved you to think about this transformational life coaching?
Yeah, because I realized that a lot of people would hit a certain block in their health journey. And I was like, well, I'm doing all the things. How can I help them? And I realized it was actually more of like a mental block or an emotional block where,
Hmm.
thoughts are things that we're feeding ourselves too. So a lot of times when people have ailments in their lives, there's an emotional component to it. And learning how to release that or release the story or come to terms with it, accept certain things that can actually excel people in their health journey as well. And so then, it just kind of came this holistic view. My husband teaches West African drum and dance. And so that's one aspect we weave in as well, is that physical movement piece where we're actually moving emotions through the body to release. And it's just this holistic perspective of I don't really think you can just look at one piece, right? It's we're a holistic being, and so there's many elements there.
Exactly. I mean, there are, and I can really relate with you because I was in my early coaching days, I was coaching specifically on business, if you
Mhm,
will, and I began to realize. I said, there are blockages.
mhm,
Something is holding them back, whether it's fear or confidence or courage, but something is holding them back. And as you peel back the onion layer, you realize that it is the mindset, it is the emotional baggage they've carried, it is something that happened so many years ago. And I'm not saying that for everyone, but I'm just saying that as a coach and as a transformational life coach that we do have to look at the holistic person.
mhm.
And so and I'm always looking at that. And so then I went on a journey, I'm sure that you did too, is how do I break through some of those barriers with them? Is that true?
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's kind of why we merged in the work we're doing now together. Is that was my big question, is how do I really help people have that breakthrough? And so that's where I'm working now.
Yeah. Now you said it's you and your husband, but you also work with your sister, don't you?
Yeah, I work with my sister. We started our partnership 5 years ago together, and we've been building. a team and a business ever since. And my sister got into this work because of a horrific car accident she was in, that
Oh,
has led her to her own transformational journey on a health level, but also on a mental level, what that did kind of in terms of the uh yeah, it was a mental load to go through something like that. So it's fun how our worlds have merged and we both have different viewpoints and different stories that led us here, but we get to do the work together.
I have to ask you, do you have any sibling rivalry?
Sometimes, but actually building a business has helped us nurture our relationships so much more. So, before diving into the transformational work, we had a lot more than we do now because we're both willing to show up and do the work ourselves. And yeah, we're growing leaps and bounds because of it.
Yeah, no, that isn't that amazing? And as we become more aware, we open the opportunity for growth with those that we are surrounded by, our friends, our family, and the impact that we have on them is so positive.
Hmm.
And I'm watching the transformation in some of my friends and my family members, and I'm like, wow, we're making an impact. And
Yeah.
that's what I think at the end of the day, we all want to have an impact.
Hmm.
And we want to leave a legacy for your children. Now, for me, I'm sure you know this about me. I am crazy about my grandchildren and making sure that I encourage them and inspire them and are there to support them to be all that they can be, right? And so it's very important to me, and the importance of having the seasoned individuals, as I call us, influencing them and helping them and guiding them.
Yeah. And
So,
honestly, that was a big, when you ask me what was a changing point of view, was really becoming a mother. Because for many
mm,
of my early 20s, I kind of just, I feel like a lot of early 20-year-olds can relate where we're just kind of wandering through, like, where is my place? What am I doing? Here's this what society says I should be doing, but and so I was just kind of wandering without a really solid purpose. And when I started
mhm.
became a mother, that's really when it solidified that, oh my gosh, I have to do this work so I can show my children what's possible. And that was a big shift. And so every day, that's my goal, is like, I can show my kids how to be an amazing entrepreneur and be a full-time mom at the same time. And I can show them, if my husband and I get in a dispute or something, how we can work through that and how we can communicate and how we're showing up for the transformation ourselves. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so important. I mean, we have to show up as a role model every day.
Yep.
And every morning I get up, besides doing my normal morning routine of gratitude and meditation and motivation, I always ask myself, who needs me today? Who
Mm.
can I serve today? Who needs me on my A game today?
Hmm.
Right? And then I go in and I know that I have to be a role model for others. And
Yep.
I will always do that, no matter what. No matter
Yep.
what's going on in my life, I've got to show up as my best self every day. And are we going to have challenges? Absolutely.
Yep.
But
And
when you
it's
can, the bounce back, you can always bounce back.
And it's so humbling, and I find the more authentic and real we are with our situation, the more we can relate to people and the more we can actually help them step into the world of transformation, because it's not some obscure thing, but they see us doing the work and they see that, oh, they're not perfect. They have hiccups too, or they have life too, and they're still doing the work. And so that's what really inspires me, is, to stay relatable and stay real and stay authentic in my own journey so I can better serve others in theirs.
So you can serve others. And speaking of serving others, how do you serve others today?
Yeah, so definitely through our organic superfood programs. And then
Hmm.
what I mainly specialize in now is helping other motivated mothers who want that nice balance of staying at home with their kids and pursuing their entrepreneurial passions. I help them build the business, a duplicatable, leveraged business that helps them step into that. Because that was really the piece I was missing, and why I struggled as an entrepreneur for years, is because I tried to do it all alone. And then
Hmm.
one of the reasons I partnered with the company I did is because then I was able to step into a community and really learn about how to leverage different skills, knowledge, expertise, so that I didn't have to wear all the hats, and so that I could learn how to outsource and leverage at the appropriate times to not only save my own time, but save my own energy so that I still had energy to pour into my family. So I really specialize in helping motivated mothers and heart-centered entrepreneurs and figuring out how to leverage their business and create a duplicatable business so it leads to more time freedom and also a good income at the same time.
Isn't that wonderful? And I mean, I was going to ask you, tell us about some of the lessons you've learned, and you've already described the lessons you've learned, right?
Mhm.
That it's okay to ask for help now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That was a big one for me to learn.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'll do it myself. I'll do it myself, just like our children do. I do it myself. But
Yep.
yeah, it is. But it's okay to ask for help and to leverage wherever you can,
hmm Yeah.
right? To
We're all in
leverage.
this thing together, so why not help each other and elevate each other's experience rather than isolating and secluding and competing? I'm way more work in the space of collaboration and lift
Yes.
each other up in that process.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love to collaborate with people, and we're in a community of like-minded individuals, and it is an awesome network of people to be in. And I am a big supporter of lifting people up, encouraging them to be the best that they can be,
hmm
because I, it's so rewarding. It is so rewarding, and I'm sure you've experienced that with many of your clients.
Yeah, so
So,
rewarding.
let's say if somebody wanted to work with you, what would be the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, well, they can visit our website. It's wellbeingconnection.life, and there's a contact page there. So they can do that, or you can find me on social media. My Facebook handle is Mary Beth Flemming. I'm on Instagram at Jiving to Thrive. So any of those ways is a great way to reach out. And then generally I'll jump on a consultation call and just kind of get a sense for where the person wants to work and what their goals are and kind of figure out the direction they want to go in so I can implement the best strategies to help them.
Perfect, perfect. Now, I always uh, ask you, is there a specific message that you'd like to leave with our audience today?
Yeah, I think my overarching message is just keep going and don't give up. No matter what comes this way, believe and trust that you got it in you and that you're here for a reason to do what you were meant to do. You were put on this planet for a reason, and there's no one else out there like you, and your message
Mhm.
needs to be heard. So don't give up, keep going, reach out for support when you need it. There's no shame in that. But know that we need you just as you are to show up and be there.
Yeah, just as you are. Okay, fun question now. If a genie dropped down in your lap right now and said, "I'm going to give you three wishes," what would those three wishes be in for
Yeah,
you?
this is a fun question. Um, I think immediately it would be let's take my family on a beach trip. Just go be by the beach for a little while with no other obligations, just for fun. I think another one would be to help humanity connect at the heart level and really get back to the humanness that we are so that we can um, you know, stop fighting so much and really move in a positive direction as a whole.
Hmm.
And then I think my third one would be to continue to give me the strength to show up every day in my fullness. Um,
Okay, beautiful.
some days we show up more full than others, but just to continue to give me that strength to keep moving forward.
And that's great because there are going to be days when, woof, some
Mhm.
days it's tough to get out of bed, right?
Yeah, there's a
Some
lot.
days.
Life is a lot, and we have a lot going on in this world. So, yeah,
But know that you have the ability to figure it out, right? That you
exactly.
have it within you to show up, stand up, power, do whatever it is that you need to do to keep yourself moving forward. And you
Mhm.
have those three beautiful kids to take care of, along, of course, with your husband, and but most importantly, your own self-care to take
Yes.
care of you so you can provide generously to others. Mary Beth, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today because I want to share our messages always of positivity, encouragement, entrepreneurship with as many people as we can because so many people out there think they cannot do it. And
Mhm.
with the right support group, with the right mindset, with the right belief system, anything is possible.
I
So
agree.
my Absolutely. So my friends out there, I love you, and what I'm going to ask you, as I ask you every week, share this message with two or three friends that you know need some positive energy around them, that need someone cheering them on every day. I will talk to you next week. And as always, stay focused, stay positive, have fun. And no matter what you choose to be, do, or have, do it with passion. And we'll talk next week. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.